Great,
Okay,
thank you.
Stay tuned for roundtable number 3.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. Lovely to see some familiar faces on the call. I've discovered this time goes very quickly, so I'm going to focus us in on some discussion around hope cleaning. My name is Barb Davies. I'm the social impact lead with the Institute for Community Prosperity at Mount Royal, and I'm the moderator for this session. We will have an opportunity for all of you to ask questions, but let's just move forward a little bit and get some context for who hope cleaning is. So without any further ado, I'd like to welcome Rachel. Can you tell us a little bit about your business?
Yes. So Hope Cleaning is a commercial cleaning company and sanitizing company that services Calgary and the surrounding communities. We started with the mission of creating employment opportunities for women that were coming out of vulnerable situations. So we started with Calgary Housing and then started partnering with different agencies in the city to help women coming out of domestic violence and exploitation to get back on their feet into the employment space.
And we were just having a little side banter with Joni here about how you got involved in this business, but I guess I'm curious about what inspired you to start a business with a social focus.
Yeah, so like I was just telling Joni, my background was very much in the kind of academic space, and my motivation for most of my life was to be able to go to med school. But part of that was, well, the driving factor for that was I really always had a passion to see people really fully able to step into what they were made for and what their passion is. And I think through getting to build a relationship with these women in Calgary Housing, I realized that there is this whole population here in our city of incredible individuals that just needed a chance. And I think I had never seen the practical application of that in this business, being expressed through me in a business social enterprise way. But as soon as that was presented to me as an option, there was just something in me that was like, yeah, that's always what I've wanted to see. I've always wanted to see people really get to overcome the obstacles and barriers removed so that people can really thrive. And so that was really my motivation.
So Hope Cleaning opened its doors 7 years ago in 2013. It services Calgary and the surrounding area. Can you tell us a little bit about the impact that the pandemic has had on your business in terms of the number of people that you currently employ?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we currently employ about 15 people. Pre-COVID, we had 20 staff. So the impact for us is really that we've had to put a pause on our residential services. And thankfully, and I'm so grateful for this, we've been able to still have our commercial services going and been able to add on specialized sanitation and fogging services. But yeah, we did have to pause our residential just because of all of the different dynamics around people's homes and the different levels of risk that our women were comfortable with.
So we've been focusing a lot about your team itself. I'd love to hear about how you're working with other people in the community and how your hiring practices are really creating benefit for our greater community here in Calgary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we've had the opportunity to partner with a lot of amazing agencies in our city. So we partner with over 10 different agencies, and we get to really provide the employment piece that is so often missing for that transition from relying fully on some of these agency services to then being able to become independent and secure on your own. So we get to come alongside agencies like the Mustard Seed, like Next Step Ministries or Sunshine Center, Center for Newcomers, and we get to work with their caseworkers when people are ready for that employment piece and hire them in as staff, build those skills, build that confidence in so that they are able to actually start to build that financial independence and really live on their own.
That's huge. Thank you for highlighting that, Rachel. I think it demonstrates the important niche that social entrepreneurship can fill in our communities, where those social service agencies, as much as they may focus on employability skills, to actually have employment opportunities for the people that they work directly with is huge. So you act as that bridge between offering a service and employability into the community and the work that you're partnering with social service agencies. What about the impact on the women that are part of your team? Can you tell us a couple stories?
Hmm. Yeah, so one of the ladies that has been with us for a lot of years, she actually had come out of a domestic violence situation. So her and her two kids fled like literally in the middle of the night with what they had on their backs. And they came out of affluence. So her partner or her husband at the time had all of the resource and everything was in his name. So then she was on her own and had really nothing. So when she started with us, it was like this was 7 years ago, I think now. It was hard for her to even look me in the eye. Like it was just that level of brokenness was there. And over the years, I've got to see her bloom as she has built that confidence in herself, has shown her skills. And one of the most amazing things is she actually got to reconnect with who she was before she met her partner and realize things that were in her that had been there for so many years, but that just had been squashed down. And so she has become one of our strongest leaders. And she trains all of our staff. She manages all of our supplies. She does all of our. She's also a manager at a church here in the city, and is just thriving. And one of the most amazing things that happened along her journey is she called me one day and she was really, really nervous because she had to go to court. And she was like, I know I need to face him and I don't know if I'm ready. And then we talked it through and I just reminded her who she was and everything that she's built and all the hard work that she's done. And she went to court and she faced her abuser and she stood up for her family and she stood up for herself. And that was the biggest win that could ever have happened. And that's what we get to see through this employment, is that people get that opportunity to really build confidence and make a change that lasts for their life.
What a powerful story. I'm feeling a bit emotional from that. Thank you for sharing that. Clearly your work is deeply impacting people's lives here in Calgary. Can you share a little bit about your business model? So you're employing women that are facing very challenging situations. Do they stay in your organization or do you act as a transitional work employment opportunity where they're able to move into other areas of work?
Yeah, so we provide both of those opportunities for people. So over the years, we have employed over 60 people. And of the people that have transitioned out of Hope Cleaning onto other things, 75% of them have actually been able to transition into full-time career positions. So we've had people that have transitioned, become teachers, who have become business owners themselves, who have become managers at gyms or offices or churches, who have transitioned into becoming full-time caretakers at care facilities. And so we really, really encourage and champion people as they move and progress in their lives and in their own journey. And we also provide those opportunities within Hope Cleaning because some people really want to stay and we want to provide them that safe place and that family that they can stay in. But I also want people to be able to grow and progress in their life. So we, as we grow, have been able to provide that growth potential for our own staff too. So they can start as a cleaning tech and then move into a team lead and then become a manager or supervisor, and then even move into other areas of admin or social media or different things depending on what they want to do, what their skill set is. So we do provide both of those opportunities.
Let's take a moment before we open it up to questions from the other people on the round table to hear about your supply chain. So how are you using your supply chain to benefit people in the planet beyond your incredible hiring practices?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I've always really cared about the dollars and the resource and how we steward the resource that comes into Hope Cleaning, because I've realized the impact that people's dollars and their resources invested in us has made. And so, on the one hand, we have been very intentional about hiring local companies for the different things that we can. So, we subcontract lots of different work that we don't do, like dry cleaning and what other lawn care maintenance or window cleaning or different things like that. And we always seek out local businesses to fulfill those contracts. And we give as much of that work as we can to local entities, small businesses. We also have had local Calgary businesses do a lot of our branding and our logo and print advertising stuff. Like we get that all done here in Calgary. And then from the product side, we really have been intentional about purchasing products that are environmentally friendly. And a huge part of that, of course, is to, reduce the impact that we have just by cleaning and not putting toxic things down our drains into our sewage. But probably even more importantly for us is just really wanting to care for our staff and wanting to make sure that we're not putting them in harm's way by having them using toxic chemicals every single day. So we've been intentional about that, and as much as possible, really using eco-friendly, environmentally friendly products so that they're also taken care of.
Amazing. As many of anyone on this call who knows me knows I'm a huge advocate for the local economy and the ability to have great community benefit. So really awesome examples of how you can use local business to support other local businesses and help to build our community here in Calgary. I want to make sure that there's an opportunity for some of you to ask questions. So feel free, we've got an open mic at this point in time. If you want to chime in with your voice or populate a question in chat, please go ahead and do so.
Thank you so much for the great presentation. I remember talking to you a few years back earlier on, and it was exciting back then, but it sounds you've pretty well established yourself, which is fantastic. When you look back over the 7 years, is there any learnings for anyone that wants to start the journey that you would do differently?
Where do you want me to start? The whole thing was a learning opportunity for me. One of the things that I think that I actually did learn just from the people side of things, right from, well, it took a few years, I'm not gonna lie, was the importance of not seeing people through their trauma. I think when I started, I was afraid to expect greatness. I was afraid to set expectations that people might fail in. And it took a lot of years, but I learned that the best gift that I can give people, especially people in this population, was to believe that they actually can meet this expectation and provide them not just an expectation and then hands off, but set that expectation and then come alongside them so that they can meet that. Because then that's me saying, I believe in you, period. Not I've set this bar lower because of where you've come from, but I believe that you can thrive, period. and this is how much I believe in you. So that is something that took a while for me to learn. Um, and I'm still learning how to navigate that gracefully. And I think it does take each individual, but I have a lot more confidence that that's the most loving thing and the best gift that I can give.
I think that's really interesting, Rachel, because that's actually called, there's actually a term for that. It's called the Pygmalion effect. And it means that we live up to the expectations people have of us. And so I love the fact that you just think that holding them capable, that's a term that I've been using, holding people capable is one of the best gifts you can give. Thank you.
We have time for one more question before we break from this session.
I have a question if I'm not cutting anybody off. So I'm curious what if there were any kind of guiding resources when you first started off in terms of like, how do I navigate this space? It seems, though I know you mentioned it was like 15 to 20 employees, on paper, those numbers seem small, but the task that you navigate through what you were just speaking about, your business period, that's a very large undertaking. And I'm curious if there were, any resources or key reference points that people, if they are starting to try and not imitate what you're doing, but in the notion of helping individuals and purposefully working with people who need that leg up and just need someone to believe in them. If there was anything that you might be willing to share or
thanks, Megan. I will say at the beginning, it was a bit challenging actually trying to find resources because we fit into kind of an in-between space, being a business with a social purpose. And so for me, my biggest resource were the mentors that I had in my life that believed in me, that I could just go to and process through the really hard stuff that I was facing and the times when I was like, I know this is the thing, but it is really hard. And so like for anybody starting out, I think it's really important not to try and do it by yourself.
Right.
Like you've got to have people around you, and that's something that I want to be able to make myself available to for other people as other people are starting to take steps on that journey. I would love to get to come alongside you and give you any of the learnings that I have gained over the years, because that for me was the most impactful, was just having people to process through and to believe in me and to remind me that I'm not on my own, remind me that this matters. So yeah, I would love to be able to do that for anybody. And then in terms of tangible resource, I think there are some things starting to come to the surface. I know that Barb has some investment opportunity that she is part of, and the government is starting to do some things along social procurement and getting people ready for investment and things like that. But I think we didn't have that at the time, so it was just our own money that we put in. And so I was like, okay, we have to be profitable like this because we don't have that much money, so we need to make money so we can keep going. So I didn't have any of those kind of resources, but I know there are some coming. And other than that, it's really finding good mentors.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. That's great.
That's a great question, Megan. And I'm recognizing that we're out of time, so I'm going to briefly bring us to a close. But we can't possibly have one cleaning company that employs women coming out of very challenging places here in Calgary, servicing Calgary and the surrounding area. So replication, right? Once we see these models that are working, replication is key. And we're in a space of competition, and collaboration is so important, right? So to be able to reach out to Rachel and say, I'm inspired, how do I do what you're doing, is not going to be met with a closed door. It's going to be met with open arms. So on that note, we know that none of us can reach out to Rachel for home cleaning services at this time, but we can surely spread the word to any of the local businesses or commercial partners that we have in our own networks. Thank you so much, Rachel, for making the time, and thank you all for joining us for this session. I believe you're moving into a soul moment, so lots of hope in our hearts having heard from Rachel this morning. Over to you, Joni, to let people know how to move into their next session.
Yeah, so there is a note in the chat that you just go back to the swap card platform, and there will be another session happening very soon. And then from there, I'm not sure if I don't think there's another breakout today, but there will be instructions on the swap card. All right, so everyone can leave, or I can end this meeting. Thanks, everyone. Cheers.
Thank